Welcome to In Depth. Imagine starting from scratch your own company. You're an entrepreneur who wants to have an impact on your community. It is easier said than done, and that's why we are talking to Eric Shields of Elevate Ventures tonight, a partner of the Coalition of Economic Development of Southwest Indiana. Eric, welcome, and you've been in town, you say, for about a year, and you're working with existing businesses to help them go to the next chapter, so to speak. But let's first talk about these entrepreneurs. I have in my head some young person, maybe a 20-something, working out of his garage, but has an incredible concept in mind. Is that too stereotypical, or describe the people you work with as far as the young ones? Well,
and while I do work with, college students and people that are even before college, really work with the whole breadth of kind of the industry. So there are people with ideas, and there are people that already have a business up and running that have revenue coming in. The typical entrepreneur that I see is somebody that's probably a little bit older than the Mark Zuckerbergs working out of their college rooms. It's people that have been in the industry for 5, 10, 20 years and have seen problems, and they've created solutions to those problems. And so they've built those solutions, and it doesn't just work for them, it works for a variety of companies, and they want to take those ideas to market.
And can that be an even bigger challenge, an existing business that may be set in its ways, but you come in basically, as a consultant, or you also, there's some capital involved in this as far as what Elevate Venture offers?
Yeah, we typically come in pretty early in a business's life cycle. So we'll come in as they're looking to scale, like go from a small business to be a larger businesses. We don't work a lot with kind of larger established businesses, but we're always looking to kind of establish that culture of innovation, because that really brings out startups in all form and fashion.
And we are living in a world right now where it is in constant change. Technology especially, we see those GoFundMe pages on, getting started up in some type of business development. How does that create challenges for you in basically working with those businesses and with those ideas?
Yeah, I think that the hardest part is really sifting through the entrepreneurs, finding the good ideas, and finding entrepreneurs that are really capable of building the next big thing. I think a lot of people come with ideas and big aspirations, but it's really drilling down, is there a market for it? Is there a customer that wants to buy it? And kind of walking them through all the different aspects of business that they might not think of when they're building something in their garage.
Elevate Ventures has other presences in Indiana. You were telling me Fort Wayne, South Bend, and the New Albany area. But in Evansville, I mean, you tell me you lived in New York for a while, Austin, Texas, which is considered usually on the top 10 list of American cities to live in. What brought you to Evansville?
Yeah, so I had been living outside of the state for the last dozen years, grew up in northern Indiana, and really saw an opportunity to come back to the Midwest, utilize my experience starting and building businesses, and apply that to entrepreneurs here in the Midwest. I think when you're on the coast or in Austin or those cities, there's a lot of resources that are available to you, a lot of networks, but those aren't all available here. And that's one thing that Elevate really does try to provide, is access to capital, to resources, to other venture capitalists that they might not have otherwise here in the Midwest.
And you've been in Evansville now about a year. What's your take and what's your idea about Evansville, your perception of the River City?
Yeah, it's been welcoming. We've had a great time kind of getting integrated to the community, had a lot of access to the individuals that we need to in order to make change. So I think it's been a great opportunity, and everybody really sees the value in creating an innovative culture. And so they've been, open arms to try to bring it. And
you're a one-man band on this down here in Evansville, but you have been successful with 2 ventures in the past year. Is that?
We've invested in 2 companies here in the region. One is a software company that does Curvo Labs medical software for procurement for hospitals. The other is a hydroponic system. And so we invest in the breadth of kind of high innovation, agriculture, manufacturing, software. And so those are companies that we've worked with, we've helped, we sit on the boards, we make introductions, and are able to provide some of those resources here in the Midwest.
And the world we live in, especially in these ever-changing times, right now the stock market is withstanding some of the some of the downs of what is happening nationwide, but is staying relatively healthy, if I interpret it correctly. How does that affect what you do? For example, had you been doing this 10 years ago during the Great Recession, what does the world impact, the world economy, the global situation, what type of effect does that have on you as far as helping these businesses?
Well, I think, obviously people's personal financial situations weighed into the picture when deciding whether to, quit their job and move out and try to start something new. And so I think the kind of the overall feeling of safety and security definitely impacts, people willing to go out and try new things.
Right, and one of the big goals of the leaders of practically every administration in Evansville is we want to keep our young people here in Evansville. Do you see that happening with what the type of work that you do?
Yeah, it's a challenge here in Evansville as well as the state in general is keeping, attracting and retaining talent. But I think the entrepreneurial slant to that, it really gets young people excited. So I think that's something that can bring people, and ultimately a vast majority of the jobs created in the country come from startups and small businesses. And so that's one way to weather those storms.
Okay, say like if I got an idea and I've got basically the matrix of the idea, how do I get in touch with you and what would be the best way?
Just go to elevateventures.com, and there's various mechanisms on the site to interact with Elevate and kind of go through our process and get introduced to me. And, we work with companies, whether it's just an idea or whether they are up and running.
All right. Eric Shields, thank you so much for being with us tonight to talk about this. Continued success on this, and welcome to Evansville. A little bit of a late welcome, but we're glad to have you here.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.